the shade that I got. Hold my hand again. Incredible shade match. Guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video because we're talking new foundation stick. We're talking the Live Tinted, their complexion stick that they just came out with. And I have some thoughts. And I'm really excited to talk about it because it is a very unique complexion foundation stick, in my opinion, in terms of just the finish of it and the initial swipe. It's very interesting to me. And yeah, we're going to talk about it compared to other complexion sticks in my collection, and give you kind of a compare and contrast about what I kind of think about them and how they kind of set up on my skin compared to the Live Tinted. We're going to do a full face. We did this. We're going to try it on. We're going to talk through all the stuff. And we're going to do a full product deep dive. And yeah, I just want to jump into this video and get started. If you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below on other products you want me to do kind of a full try on and deep dive compared to other products in my collection type video. Let me know what other products you want to kind of see this kind of format with. And yeah, let's just jump into this Live Tinted Complexion Stick try on and review. Live Tinted Complexion Stick, let's get into it. I'm really excited. So this is the complexion stick right here. And what I want to say, I was shocked. I was shocked. Hold my hand. Hold my hand. This is very expensive and weighty feeling. It feels exactly, don't let go. Don't let go. Of the Westman Atelier, their foundation stick. We're going to be talking about them comparably later, but I was shocked with how expensive this feels. It also has kind of that magnetic closure that Westman Atelier has, so this is very luxurious feeling. This feels very, very high-end, and as we know, Westman Atelier, she's a pricey brand. Great products, but pricey. So I was very, very excited when I just got this out of the packaging. So I got the shade 10 here. Now, interestingly enough about this product is it says it's a 5-in-1, and I could not for the life of me figure out what the 5 was. I was like, what are the 5? I thought it was, you know, bronzer, foundation, or complexion, and then concealer, and I couldn't think of the other ones, but I'm going to put on the screen what they say the other ones are. So you have brightener, bronzer, foundation, contour, and concealer. So we're going to use it as a complexion foundation product and then also concealer product because I only ordered one shade. But the packaging impressed me a lot. Now, this is the shade 10. I had a hard time figuring out what shade to get. I feel like I always have a hard time figuring out a shade to get, but I really did struggle. I went with one with a neutral undertone because I have a more of an olive neutral undertone, and I felt like neutral would be good. So we're going to talk about this as I kind of apply it. So this is the shade that I got. Hold my hand again. Incredible shade match for my face. It's a little bit light, but I'm going to get very pale. So we're going to apply it 2 ways because I want you guys to be able to see exactly how it blends. Look at that shade match. I'm sick. I'm going to throw up. I'm so excited. It's so hard to find a shade match. So I'm going to do on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it directly on my face, and then I'm going to blend it with my fingers because I want you guys to be able to see. Do not blend it with a sponge. I'm telling you right now, don't do it. I did not like the way it blended with a sponge. I didn't like the way that it looked at all. So we're going to just blend with our fingers. And I don't want to apply too much at first, so we're going to just kind of build as we go. I also put a little bit on my nose, not too much. I don't like to apply too much product on my nose because my nose always breaks apart, or everything just kind of breaks apart immediately on my nose because I have an oily T-zone. Just add a little bit more here and blend. Look how pretty that is. Now what I'm going to do is on this side, I'm going to apply it the same way I did. So I'm just going to stripe it around my face. but I'm going to blend with a brush. Now I find, look at how good, look at that. Are you screaming, crying, and throwing up like I am? Because the shade match is incredible. And I'm going to blend it out with this brush here, just this side, and just kind of stipple it onto the, or press it in and to blend it out. Now this product feels like butter in every sense of that word. It is very, very buttery. And so it's really easy to blend it out when you apply it directly to your face with a brush. Now, I've also done it where I apply it to the back of my hand, take a brush like this, a fluffy brush, get the product all in it, and then apply it to my face. I also really like to apply it that way too. Okay, so that is this side on. What do you guys think? My hair looks insane. I'm washing it today, okay? I know. I always come on here looking like a ragamuffin. Anyways, this is what it looks like blended out. This product is really interesting to me for a few reasons. One, the coverage is definitely there and you can build it up. I don't love it when I build it up too much, but just I don't love that with anything. I like everything to look very skin-like. Even when you build it up a ton to really get that kind of real full coverage, full send, it still looks like skin. I just don't like the way that my skin feels, if that makes sense. I kind of like to keep it in that medium range, but it's really, really good at covering stuff. Now, just so everyone knows, I have an oily T-zone. I have kind of normal to sometimes dry because I have eczema. I have eczema right now on my face, and I do get some breakouts, so I do get some texture from that. And I don't find, interestingly enough, that this clings to my dryness when I do have it. I do find at the end of the day that it is clinging a little bit more to that dryness. However, it's not anything that is different from other foundations that I have tried when it comes to my eczema dryness. So that is really, really nice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do our under eyes. And I'm going to do it two ways on my under eyes just so you can see. So one, I'm just going to apply directly to my under eyes. And then the other, I'm going to kind of just place it exactly where I feel like I need it. For my under eyes, I like to let this sit for about a minute. So we're going to let it sit and then we're going to come back and talk more about the product and then compare and contrast to other stick foundations that I have in my collection. All right, it's been about a minute now. What I have found with this is I don't really love blending it with my fingers for my under eyes, so we're not gonna do that just because, why would we? I feel like I need the brush to get the coverage I want, so I'm gonna use this brush here and we're just gonna tap it in. What do you guys think of the coverage and all of that? What do you feel about just the way that it's looking? We're gonna blend this side out now. We are blended. What do you guys think of just the coverage overall and all of that? Now, I don't have a lot of hyperpigmentation or anything kind of popping through that you can see. I do have little bits here and there, but I do feel like it does a good job covering that and it just smooths over everything. Now, if I want to get very, very pinpointy across my face for hyperpigmentation or anything like that, I take a little bit of this product on a brush or on my finger, place it there. I let it sit for about a minute at least, maybe even longer for hyperpigmentation or anything like that, kind of something where I really needed to grip on. Then I blend it out with my finger as opposed to a brush for when I want it to be super, super pinpointy. I really enjoy the way that this wears and feels. It looks very natural on this face. And when I get to, again, to a humbling mirror, I'm not alarmed or anything that it's looking too much or it's looking very makeup-y. Now, under my eyes, you can see, or I hope you can see, at least I can see on this mirror, that I don't have any creasing or anything. And I do think the key to not creasing under the eyes with this is letting it sit for a minute under the eyes. When I didn't let it sit, I did get a little bit of creasing, but that's kind of to be expected for something that's more like emollient, I guess is the word that I want to use, even though it's just more buttery feeling. I feel like emollient is the right word, where if I didn't kind of let it sit for a minute under my eyes, I did feel like I could get some creasing. Right now we don't have any creasing. I really don't get creasing with this when I let it sit under my eyes. And I don't have, again, clinging or kind of settling into fine lines around my face, or even, I don't really have big pores. So I just want to preface this, but I don't have any accentuating any texture or big pores on my face. The one thing I will say is I do feel like the shade range could be improved, because I feel like you need in-betweens. I know they have 20 shades, but we need some in-between shades, because I feel like for a lot of the mid-tone shades specifically, but also I feel like across the board, there's such a significant jump from shades. And one shade is, let's say I'm in shade 10. So let's say shade 10, the next shade 9 or 8, whatever it is. I feel like it's a lot of the time it's like a big jump, but also because you need like a varying undertone. I feel like we need to expand the shade range. What I want to do is I'm going to apply a full face of makeup. We're going to come back and we're going to do final thoughts kind of on this foundation stick, what I like, what I don't like, all that jazz. And then we're going to compare and contrast to other foundation sticks in my collection, so that you can kind of make an executive decision for yourself whether or not this is something that works for you. Now let's get into the specs of the product. So I actually really enjoy this. It's very comfortable to wear. It has beautiful medium coverage. You can build it up to full coverage. I don't love it full coverage. It's not my journey. I feel like it clings to stuff. I feel like it accentuates stuff more when I go kind of full send with it. I feel like a good medium plus, and the medium plus portion of the coverage I prefer when it's pinpointy, right? Not all over the face. I feel like it just accentuates stuff in general. That's with all makeup when you kind of over apply it. Under the eyes, I'd like to let it sit for about a minute to 2 minutes and then blend it out. And that's the same when I'm pinpointing around the face. When I'm pinpointing around the face, I can let it sit even longer, and I just blend it out with my fingers under my eyes. I prefer to blend with a brush. I do not like this with a sponge. They don't say to apply it with a sponge, but I don't like it with a sponge. I like to blend it with my fingers or a brush. My preferred method is with a brush. The shade range, about 20 shades. I do think we need some in-betweens, because some of the jumps from shades, from one shade to the next, I'm like, okay, what journey did we get to go completely over here when we were over here, kind of thing. So I do hope they expand the shade range. I do feel like I saw somewhere that they are going to come out with more shades, so that's good. I just would prefer if all the shades came out at once, but you know what, is what it is. That's their journey. But I really actually enjoy the way that this wears and feels. I like the way that makeup sits on top of it and it plays with makeup. It plays with my skincare really well. Normally I wear the In Beauty Project Extreme Cream. That is my favorite face cream at the moment, and it plays really well with that. I've also used it with something that's more oil-based on my face, and I did enjoy that too. I just really made sure that the oil kind of really sinks in before I applied it. I like to blend it out with a brush or my fingers. Do not, well, you know what, that might be your journey, but do not blend it with a sponge. I feel like it just makes my skin look more textured for some reason with a sponge. And yeah, so brush, fingers, all that. Letting it sit for a little bit under my eyes, so about a minute to 2 minutes. And when I'm pinpointing certain spots, a minute. If it's around the face, actually, it can kind of go more further in terms of sit time, so you can let it sit a little bit longer, because I just blend the warmth of my finger when I blend it out makes it so that it kind of just melts right in that exact spot, whereas I like to use this brush under my eyes. I don't mind it with my fingers, but I just prefer using a brush under my eyes for any kind of concealer in general. And the packaging, the expensive feeling packaging is just, it's everything I wanted and more. I love this. It's very, very weighty feeling, and it really gives Westman Atelier vibes. And on that note, we're going to talk about Westman Atelier foundation stick, comparably to the Live Tinted Huestick, or is it called Huestick? Oh, it is Huestick. So interesting about this is you can see here the Live Tinted one almost is like a little bit wider, but not really. So when I hold them in my hands, and if my eyes are closed, I don't know why my eyes are closed right now, but if my eyes are closed, I can't tell a difference between which is which in terms of weight. That's kind of bananas, you guys. This has kind of that magnetic closure, and this also has magnetic closure. Now let's talk about the difference here. So the Westman Atelier, their foundation stick is, they have a lot, I don't know the amount, I'm gonna have everything on the screen of shades that they have, but they have a nice shade range, even though I always think all brands can always expand shade ranges. So, you know what, they probably could kind of expand a little bit, but they have a nice shade range. Now, this is more of a natural finish on my skin for sure, and it is something I can use under my eyes. I have two shades here. I have the shade IX and X, and I can use X as my normal shade, use the shade IX under my eyes, and it's great. I do find the coverage of the Live Tinted one to be more significant than the Westman Atelier, especially under my eyes. The Westman Atelier one is not quite as buttery. It doesn't have that kind of slip feeling that the Live Tinted complexion stick does have. Overall, I feel like the Live Tinted one has a little bit more slip to it. Both play really well with the texture that I do have on my face. Both don't make me a slip and slide by the end of the day. Both have great coverage. I would say that the Westman Atelier, not the Westman Atelier, I would say that the Live Tinted one has more coverage than the Westman Atelier one. Both look very skin-like on the face, and both don't accentuate my dryness or anything around the face, which is really nice. In terms, since these are kind of the same feeling product, let's look at the weight difference here. Westman Atelier one has 9 grams. The Live Tinted one has 11 grams. So the Live Tinted one has more product to it, and it's a lot cheaper. The shade range could use a little bit of work, but I did find a really good shade match, and I do have a tough complexion to match. But I do feel like we need to pepper in a few more shades with the Live Tinted one. Overall, I really like both of these. And if you don't have, because I will say with this one, when you layered up the Live Tinted one, if you're looking for full coverage and something that isn't going to cling, the Live Tinted one does cling for me if I go full coverage with it. If I stick to the medium kind of coverage area, I'm good, and I don't have that problem. With the Westman Atelier, no matter how much I apply of this, I don't have issues with clinging. So that is kind of the difference there. Now let's talk about the Live Tinted Complexion Stick versus the Ilia Foundation Stick. The Ilia Foundation Stick reminds me a lot of the Westman Atelier Foundation Stick, and that is interesting to me. They have that very nice natural kind of finish to them. I'm gonna have swatches of everything on the screen. Natural finish to them. It's a very comfortable wear. This also doesn't cling to any of my dryness. And I find that it kind of just, the Ilia foundation stick just kind of glides over everything. I have a really good shade match in this as well. It's the shade 24N Cypress, and both do such an incredible job. Now the Ilia one doesn't have the same butteriness and slip for initial application as the Live Tinted one does. So that is kind of, I would say for a lot of these, for some of these, that is the biggest difference, is the initial application and feel of the product and the butteriness of the Live Tinted one, and the fact that it has kind of more of a natural, they say matte finish. On me, it's not a matte finish, but I'm sure on a lot of people it would have more of a matte finish to it. And that is actually very unique, I feel like, to a complexion stick, foundation stick. I feel like it finishing kind of more, being super buttery, and then finishing kind of more on that natural, on me, matte kind of finish is very, very unique to this. Overall, both of these are great. I enjoy them both. I have a great shade match in both of these. And the Ilia under my eyes, I don't love under my eyes. Kind of in the same vein as the Westman Atelier. I like the Westman Atelier under my eyes. In general, I prefer a liquid concealer. But if I had to go with an under eye one for my under eyes, I would go with the Live Tinted over both the Westman Atelier and the Ilia, just because of the way that it feels and also sits throughout the entire day. Even though it's meant to be more of a matte finish on my under eyes, it's not. It's more, again, natural. And also has that like butteriness that I need under my eyes. I don't know, in my mind I need it. So I prefer the Live Tinted for under my eyes. Now let's talk about the LYS Beauty Their Foundation Stick. This one has the most similar feeling to the Live Tinted one. So if you love the buttery feeling of the LYS Beauty Foundation Stick, you might really enjoy the Live Tinted Their Complexion Stick. The LYS Beauty Their Foundation Stick, in my opinion, it does have a little bit more dew to it, and it does dew up a little bit more throughout the day. The LYS Beauty one has a natural to dewy finish, whereas the Live Tinted Foundation Stick or Complexion Stick kind of, on me, finishes more natural and kind of stays in that natural place, if that makes sense. So it doesn't do up a ton on me. And I mean, you can see right now in studio lights, like it is hot in here and I'm in a sweater for some reason, and it's still looking really nice and it's not looking super shiny or dewy. Whereas the LYS Beauty, it would be more on the dewy side, especially with the way that I like to prep my skin, which I always wear the same skin kind of prep. The LYS Beauty has more of a true medium coverage in my opinion, and I don't think that, like, you can kind of build it up a little bit, but in my opinion it's kind of just kind of stays in that medium, if that makes sense. Under my eyes, I don't love the LYS Beauty under my eyes, and I know it's also not meant to be under the eyes, but I'm trying to go, same. I don't love it under my eyes. I feel like it does crease a little bit more under my eyes than the Live Tinted one does as a concealer under my eyes. The LYS Beauty has a beautiful shade range, a lot of options. I feel like if you have a really challenging skin tone to match, then the LYS Beauty, they have an incredible shade range, definitely worth checking out. Now, if I had to pick between the Live Tinted and the LYS Beauty, I would go with the Live Tinted foundation stick, just because I feel like it's a really well-rounded product. In terms of the fact that it works really well under my eyes as well. Next, I want to talk about the Colé foundation stick. I know, or what is the full name? Skin stick compared to the Live Tinted. It's so sad this is going away. The Colé stick is just amazing, but she is no longer. I really enjoy the Colé skin stick. It kind of just is the most comfortable wear stick. Of the two products, the biggest difference here, in my opinion, is the way that they feel on the skin. The Colé, although the Live Tinted feels like nothing on the skin, the Colé feels like even more nothing. Because the Colé is a little bit on the thinner side. So that, to me, is the biggest difference between them, and you can't really build the Colé up to be full coverage. So that is the biggest difference there. Now I want to talk about the Thread Beauty Bare Stick, which is also very buttery. In my opinion, between the Live Tinted Complexion Stick and the Thread Beauty Bare Foundation Stick, I find that the Thread Beauty builds up a little bit nicer to kind of more that full coverage area than the Live Tinted Complexion Stick. So that's kind of the difference there. Is I actually prefer the Thread Beauty foundation stick when I build it up. They both kind of have a similar finish to me, and the Thread Beauty complexion stick does say it kind of dries more matte. On my skin, it's more of a natural finish, I would say, and so that is the main difference there. They're both super buttery. They're both really nice to wear. Under the eyes, I do like the Thread Beauty Complexion Stick. It's very nice and comfortable to wear, and I don't have to worry about creasing. In terms of feeling here, I mean, the Live Tinted, their complexion stick, is a lot more luxurious feeling than the Thread Beauty Complexion Stick, but that's just packaging. Overall, these are both great products. I like the way that both sit on my skin and feel, and they kind of set up very similarly to me, and feel really, really comfortable on the face. Now I want to talk Merit Beauty Foundation Concealer Stick. I like it all over the face. My real preference with it is to pinpoint around the face. And so I'm going to talk about them kind of comparable in that way, or comparably that way. So I prefer the Merit Beauty for pinpointing around the face if I had to pick between the two for how I like to wear it. Now for under the eyes, I prefer the Live Tinted. It has a little bit more of a slip to it than the Merit Beauty under my eyes. But I do find that for coverage wise, they both give me great coverage. So it really depends there. Now for all over the face, they both wear beautifully around the face. I just prefer something a little bit more liquidy than the Merit Beauty because it is kind of a smaller kind of tip, if that makes sense. And so I don't get as much. I feel like I got to do a few more swipes, if that makes sense. And lastly, I want to talk about the Axiology Fungdation, which is made with mushrooms, which terrified me. This is a very interesting product that I really enjoy, and it's one that really looks like skin. And it's one you can also, I mean, I tried it under my eyes. It's nice. I don't prefer it under my eyes. Again, I prefer a liquid concealer for under my eyes. But I would say that the Axiology, their Fungdation, dews up more than the Live Tinted foundation stick or complexion stick. It also, in my opinion, isn't as buildable to full coverage, the Axiology Fungdation. And that to me is really the difference there, but both look beautiful on the skin, both just melt into the skin. I would say the Axiology, again, has a natural finish that then dews up. Not so dewy that I look a mess by the end of the day, but the Live Tinted complexion stick kind of holds where it dries down on me more so than the Axiology that kind of can get a little bit dewy on my skin. Yeah, that is kind of my comparison of other foundation sticks that I have in my collection compared to the Live Tinted complexion stick. Overall, I'm a really big fan of this. I do think that there's some people that aren't going to love this, especially if you're looking for full coverage, because I do think it can cling. And it can accentuate pores and it can accentuate dryness when you kind of, it's like more towards the end of the day, at least on me. I feel like then you can kind of get a little bit in a dicier spot with it. But overall, I'm a really big fan. I really like the coverage under the eyes. You guys have to let me know what you guys think, of the shade that I picked, because I was like, okay, I could have gone darker. But you have to let me know what you think of the shade I picked, the coverage, the look, the wear. We're in studio lights. I'm in a sweater. What are you feeling about this foundation overall? And yeah, that is it for this video. That is it for my Live Tinted Complexion Stick review. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.